Before the Coffee Gets Cold, a deep emotional journey. Through time, regret, and love based on the novel Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. There are many stories about time travel in the world of literature. Some are filled with adventure, science fiction, or action. Others explore alternate realities and dramatic changes to history. But Before the Coffee Gets Cold is different. It does not use time travel to create excitement or chaos. Instead, it uses time travel to explore something much deeper and more human: regret, love, memory, forgiveness, and the emotional weight of words left unsaid. This beautiful Japanese novel takes place almost entirely inside a tiny underground café called Funiculi. At first glance, the café seems ordinary. It is quiet, dimly lit, and old-fashioned. 3 clocks hang on the wall showing different times, and customers sit peacefully drinking coffee. But hidden within this calm atmosphere is an unbelievable secret. If a customer sits in a certain seat, they can travel back in time. However, there are strict rules. You can only meet people who have visited the cafe before. You cannot leave the seat while in the past. Most importantly, no matter what you do in the past, you cannot change the present. And finally, you must return before the coffee gets cold. At first, these rules seem disappointing. If the present cannot be changed, what is the point of returning to the past? But as the story unfolds, the reader slowly understands the true message of the book. Sometimes changing the past is not the goal. Sometimes simply expressing feelings, understanding someone's heart, or saying goodbye properly can completely change a person's future. Emotionally, that is the true magic of this story. The atmosphere of the cafe, one of the most beautiful aspects of the novel, is the atmosphere created inside the cafe. The cafe feels timeless. It is separated from the outside world, almost like a sacred place where emotions are preserved. The author describes the cafe in great detail: the dim lights, the antique clocks, the silence, the smell of coffee, and the calmness that fills the room. Even though the entire novel mostly happens in one location, it never feels boring. Instead, the cafe becomes a symbol of memory itself, a place where people confront the feelings they could never escape. The cafe is also filled with mysterious yet unforgettable characters. Kazu Tokita, the waitress, appears emotionless and quiet, but she understands human pain deeply. Nagare, the owner, brings warmth and stability to the cafe. Then there is the ghostly woman who occupies the special seat. Her presence creates fear and mystery, reminding readers that time travel is not something simple or playful. The setting creates a peaceful emotional tension throughout the novel. Every conversation feels important. Every cup of coffee carries meaning. The first story. The Lovers, the first section of the novel, introduces Fumiko Kiyokawa, a successful and intelligent career woman. She meets her boyfriend, Goro Katada, for what she believes might be a marriage proposal. Instead, he suddenly tells her he is leaving for America. Fumiko is shocked and heartbroken. Because of her pride, she cannot express her true feelings. She wants to beg him to stay, but instead she acts cold and defensive. As a result, Goro leaves without understanding how much she truly cared for him. This emotional moment becomes the reason Fumiko wants to travel back in time. She hopes to fix her mistake and finally tell Goro the truth. What makes this story powerful is how realistic it feels. Many people have experienced situations where pride prevented them from speaking honestly. Sometimes people lose opportunities not because love was absent, but because communication failed. When Fumiko learns that the present cannot be changed, she almost gives up. But eventually she realizes that even if Goro still leaves for America, she still wants him to know her true feelings. This realization becomes the emotional heart of the story. Her journey teaches readers that expressing love honestly matters, even when outcomes cannot be changed. The act of speaking sincerely has value on its own. Human beings often carry regret not because things ended, but because important words were never spoken. Fumiko's story is deeply emotional because it reflects a universal truth. Silence can become one of the greatest regrets in life. The second story. Husband and Wife Gie Dia. Second story explores an even more heartbreaking situation. It centers on a husband suffering from Alzheimer's disease. His memory is slowly disappearing, and his wife struggles emotionally as the person she loves gradually forgets her existence. This story examines one of humanity's greatest fears: losing memories. Memories are what connect us to people. They preserve love, identity, and shared experiences. When memory disappears, relationships themselves seem to fade. Yet the novel asks an important question: does love disappear when memory does? The answer given by the story is deeply moving. Even though the husband's mind deteriorates, traces of his love remain. His feelings continue existing beyond logic and memory. The wife realizes that love is not only stored in the brain, it also exists in actions, habits, emotions, and the soul itself. The time travel experience allows unresolved feelings to surface. The wife gains emotional closure and renewed understanding of her husband's devotion. This story is devastating because it reflects real-life suffering experienced by many families. Alzheimer's disease slowly steals recognition, conversation, and shared history. Yet the novel handles the topic gently and respectfully, focusing not only on sadness, but also on enduring emotional bonds. Readers are reminded that love can survive even when words and memories disappear. The third story, The Sisters. The third chapter focuses on two sisters separated emotionally by misunderstanding and distance. Family relationships are often complicated because love is mixed with expectation, responsibility, jealousy, and guilt. Unlike romantic relationships, family bonds are permanent. Hurt inside families can last for years because people assume there will always be more time to fix things later. But life does not always give us that time. This section of the novel explores the pain of missed opportunities between siblings. It examines how misunderstandings grow when people avoid vulnerable conversations. The time travel element allows one sister to revisit emotional moments and finally understand the true feelings hidden behind past actions. She realizes that many things she interpreted negatively were actually expressions of love and concern. This story teaches an important lesson about assumptions. People often misunderstand one another because they judge actions without understanding emotions. A harsh word may hide fear. Distance may hide sacrifice. Silence may hide love. The sisters' story encourages readers to appreciate family while they still can, and to avoid delaying important conversations. The fourth story, Mother and Child, the final section, is perhaps the most emotional of all. It explores the relationship between a mother and her unborn child, while also dealing with illness and mortality. This story beautifully captures parental love, especially the selfless nature of motherhood. A mother's love exists even before a child is born. It is protective, sacrificial, and unconditional. The emotional weight of this story comes from its confrontation with death and acceptance. Characters must face painful truths about limited time, yet instead of despair, the story emphasizes gratitude, connection, and emotional legacy. The novel ultimately suggests that, although life is temporary, love continues influencing people even after death. This message gives the book its emotional power. The meaning of time in the novel, most time travel stories focus on changing history. This novel focuses on changing perspective. That difference is what makes the story unforgettable. The rules preventing changes to the present initially seem cruel, but eventually readers understand their deeper meaning. The past cannot be changed because regret itself is part of being human. People cannot erase pain, mistakes, or loss. What they can change is how they understand those experiences. The novel teaches that healing does not always come from changing events. Sometimes healing comes from acceptance, understanding, forgiveness, or finally speaking honestly. This idea reflects real life. Human beings cannot rewind time. We cannot undo breakups, deaths, missed opportunities, or painful decisions. But we can change how we carry those memories. That emotional transformation is the true form of time travel in the novel. Themes of regret and communication. One of the strongest themes throughout the novel is regret caused by poor communication. Again and again, characters suffer because they failed to express themselves clearly. Pride, fear, awkwardness, and hesitation prevent them from saying important words. How many people in real life experience the same thing? Many relationships end not because love disappears, but because communication breaks down. People assume others understand their feelings without speaking them aloud. Sometimes they wait too long. The novel encourages readers to communicate honestly while they still have the chance. Say, "I love you." Say, "I'm sorry." Say, "Thank you." Say, "Please stay." Say, "I forgive you." These simple words can carry enormous emotional power. The café becomes a place where people receive a second chance to say what should have been said the first time. Why the book resonates so deeply. The reason Before the Coffee Gets Cold became internationally beloved is because its emotions are universal. Every person has regrets. Every person has someone they miss, someone they wish they had spoken to differently, someone they wish they could meet one more time, someone they lost too early, someone they never properly thanked. The novel touches those hidden emotional wounds gently. Unlike dramatic tragedies that rely on shocking events, this story feels intimate and personal. The pain comes from ordinary human experiences. That makes it relatable to readers from every culture and background. The cafe itself symbolizes emotional reflection. It is quiet enough for people to confront feelings they usually avoid. Readers often finish the novel thinking not about time travel, but about their own lives and relationships. Writing style and emotional impact. Toshikazu Kawaguchi's writing style is simple, calm, and elegant. The prose is not overly complicated, yet the emotions are incredibly powerful. The dialogue feels natural and human. Characters express vulnerability slowly, often indirectly, which reflects real Japanese social interaction and emotional restraint. This subtlety makes emotional moments more impactful. Rather than overwhelming readers with dramatic speeches, the novel allows feelings to emerge gradually. The pacing is gentle, like slowly drinking warm coffee while listening to someone share their deepest regrets. There is also a theatrical quality to the writing because the story was originally adapted from a stage play. Most scenes occur within the same location, and conversations drive the emotional momentum. This creates intimacy between characters and readers. The symbolism of coffee itself carries symbolic meaning throughout the story. Coffee must be consumed before it gets cold. This creates urgency. Time is limited, opportunities disappear, moments pass quickly. The cooling coffee represents life itself. People cannot remain forever in the past. Eventually, they must return to reality. The time limit forces characters to focus on what truly matters emotionally. The coffee also symbolizes warmth, comfort, memory, and connection. Sharing coffee often creates opportunities for meaningful conversation in real life, and the novel uses this beautifully. Lessons. Readers can learn. This novel leaves readers with many valuable life lessons. Speak honestly while you still can. Do not assume there will always be another opportunity. 2. Regret is part of life. Nobody lives perfectly. Everyone makes mistakes. Love matters even when outcomes cannot. Change. Emotional truth has value regardless of results. R. Memories shape identity. Human relationships are built through shared experiences. Acceptance can bring peace. Sometimes healing comes not from changing events, but from understanding them differently. Final Thoughts Before the Coffee Gets Cold is much more than a time travel novel. It is a deeply emotional exploration of human connection, regret, love, and memory. Through the quiet atmosphere of a mysterious cafe, Toshikazu Kawaguchi reminds readers that life is fragile and time is precious. The novel does not promise magical solutions. It does not allow characters to erase pain or rewrite history. Instead, it offers something more meaningful: the opportunity to confront emotions honestly. That is why this story resonates so deeply. Readers finish the book with a renewed appreciation for the people in their lives. It inspires reflection about relationships, communication, and the importance of expressing feelings before it becomes too late. In the end, the novel asks a powerful question: If you could go back in time, who would you want to meet? And perhaps even more importantly, what would you finally say? Thank you for listening to Bookshare Audio. If you enjoyed this emotional book summary and essay, please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel and discover more amazing stories from around the world.